some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet. The smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist. Be very, very careful where you step here. They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below. Grabowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too. Confirmed. Nearly the whole pack is there. Solidified on his lower rear teeth.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
A .75-liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside. It's mid-market spirits with a slight touch of menthol. The man meant to enjoy himself, have a good time.
Tear all around us. I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. This is what killed him.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you? Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind. The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head. You have to be quite inebriated to fall that bad. Well over a liter of pure ethanol. 3 bottles of wine or 1.5 of spirits. Or maybe it was just dark. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his mustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. The leather jacket suits him well. It must be custom made. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into 2. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done. From where I stand, I can see 2 options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle. A field autopsy isn't necessary if the cause of death doesn't appear to be criminal, and this looks like a simple accident to me. I'd say we should just write down head trauma and leave it at that. Let's keep this detour as short as possible. The sooner we get back to finding Ruby, the better. Good call. The guys at processing can take care of the rest. Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then, looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
At least this man knew how to party. Imagine the same scene without the bottle. Now that would be just sad.
The wedding ring. But let's try to not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man found dead on the Martin. Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive. What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the...
Sometimes a kebab is just a kebab.
They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean. No, I don't...
Yes, but what if there's a killer on the loose? 2 suspicious deaths in such a short time frame.
Without any further evidence, yes. It does seem to be a pretty...
A man lies on... There's some tear in 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up.
A tragedy.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarette. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup. It's hard to... The library card is folded into 2 and still slightly wet to the touch. Billy is a unisex name. Could be the deceased or his family member. Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinton Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too. If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 00502552211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock.
Good. We should give them a call from my kinema. See if we can learn anything about Billy Méjean.
Good idea. You pick up the handset. There's a tone. The machine is operable. The library card. Billy is a unisex name. If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 00. You pick up the handset. There's a tone. The machine is operable. has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
It's military. A service depot of some sort. Probably something that is no longer there. From here to the whirling, I can't see how. The church is in the way.
You rattle the handle a bit, then push.
We don't get in there. Frankly, you're just going to have to accept the fact that you can't get in through every single door.
No. We've gotten into every door thus far. That's what we do. We open doors. We're cops. That's our perk. Even Everard knew that's a part of our MO.
Yeah, I understand you. I like opening doors as much as the next guy. But this one is simply relax. From here to the whirling.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual. Even in a general average bullet hole frequency in Martinez sense. Grim affairs. Meaning, this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire. Something you don't see these days. The manufacturing and sale of automatic rifles was curtailed after the revolution.
Unable to piece together the scattering of bullet holes looks like one giant smiling mouth, smiling its deadly smile.
go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
His self-conscious enthusiasm renders his movements ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it. To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Oh no, it's all right. I'm just busy. What's this? Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881. You broke the water lock with a motor carriage? There was a billboard in the canal. Not a vehicle. It said Samaran Butter.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going. I'm afraid not, officer. I've been busy digging around in the reeds for days, looking for signs of insect activity. I'm less interested in mammalian concerns, to be perfectly honest.
The lieutenant takes a short note in his notebook, then gestures for you to proceed.
Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
Seems puny, to be honest.
good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, and I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen. Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts. Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition. Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis. Yes, the females don't need males to reproduce. Makes it easier for a species to survive in adverse conditions. Nature does not concern herself with ethical propositions. As a scientist, My interest is strictly dispassionate, and I'm eager to return. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here for days.
And leave the traps.
Come on. She wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch Reed.
Of course.
She's seen it.
Yes. That's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell. Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together.
His spirit may be willing, but his body might be too old to endure the rigors of the coast.
No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve?
I could go for some trap setting.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence. Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight. That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
This is the smell of dying reeds, of longing crumbling into the water.
I hope you're not buying this. It dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research. There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? Is it? Right.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later. But what if the information is vital? What about his eager-to-leave friend Gary there? Talk to him too, perhaps.
Hello, I'm Gary. Yellow Man. I mean, officer.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrows. Yellow man. Interesting. This is something to ask him about, after a little probing first.
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization. I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here. Dark times will do that to good men. Oh, so that's what the RCM in Martinez is about. Great. Great to hear someone's finally taking care of that.
So you do know something about...
No, no. Nothing. He was some kind of mercenary. But everyone here knows that. I'm just glad to hear you're looking into it. That's all.
He's not feeling very comfy in his clothes, is he? Strange.
No, no. I help Morel with research sometimes, and I've learned some things along the way. But I don't usually go in for picnics like this.
There probably is a follow-up to this, but you can't think of any.
Not many Sealites here, or anywhere, other than Sail. I meant no offense, truly.
Do you remember how, when we met Measurehead and I said the next races will be a really good one? Well, this is that racist.
Hey, man, all I meant was there are not many Sealites around here. I'm just stating a fact. Oh, yes, of course he is. I was just speaking about his connections. My mug? Why would you think that? Oh, no, that's not... Why would I be calling to a broken mug? Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I am very sorry. You're not going to find me, are you? Oh, God. 250? How am I gonna pay that? Okay, I'll work harder. I'll pay it off.
This is a considerable expense to him. 1 month's wage, most likely.
And I'll never do it again. I don't know what got into me, really. Work has been stressful lately. Damn Koiko's price dumping us out of competition.
What did you do, Gary?
Nothing. Nothing. Just answering some questions.
Here we go. Start pumping that sweet info.
I know a guy who works with the trash collection services, CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash containers of Martinez. So I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn Hemians run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have disgraced.
Disgraced? No need for the histrionic, sir. It was, after all, just a trash container.
He studies his reaction. Gary doesn't answer.
Officer, please. Let me explain. It's not like that. I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. Then I came out to clean up the rags because no one else would. I put them into the Whirling's trash, along with a broken mug, admittedly. Okay. I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes too.
Right. It was just civic duty.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
As he shifts uncomfortably, a series of clicks, like the clinking of glass beads against one another as they...
What sound? I haven't the slightest. There's lots of weird stuff out here in the reeds, though.
Every day, the wind shifts the reeds and whatever was left in them. Tambourines and condom wrappers, plastic and glass bottles.
Armor? No. I mean, yes. Of course. I know he was wearing armor, but I don't know anything about it.
There's something going on here. You should observe him more closely after this topic is concluded.
I hope I could help your investigation, in my small way.
Don't be so relieved yet, Gary. This bad cop may have been in your apartment, admiring your mug collection. Perhaps a little. That shirt looks very uncomfortable on him. Look at the buttons, barely keeping that thing together, as if something is ready to rip out from underneath. Yes, like a piece of ceramic armor, for example. One that makes a clicking sound when the plates meet each other.
I knew you'd figure it out, officer. I'm sorry I didn't tell you at once. I was ashamed of what I did. And I didn't want you to know.
Gary, what's going on?
Later, Morale.
No, you've got explaining to do.
He sighs again, hangs his head, and unbuttons his shirt fully. A cuirass that matches the dead man's boots comes into view. Soon it is in your hands, smelling of his sweat, but so light to hold, like a bag of cotton. This is it. This will protect your mortal shell. Don it and live.
Everyone was picking those pieces off him, and I was watching them do it. And they'd scattered his clothes all over the yard. Everything was smelling. So I went there to take out the trash and started cleaning up. All those rags on the ground, him swinging up there, and I had a lapse of honor, sir. I thought, he's a foreigner. They all say he wasn't from here. Only the cuirass was left, so I stripped it off him. It was early in the morning. No one saw me. I took it with me. It was a mistake. Had I known...
It's okay. It was a loose end, and you are tying it up now.
I'm so fucking sorry I called you Yellow Man. Sealite officers commanded the suzerain's navy. Most of them sided with the king when...
They were thoroughly conservative men, he realizes suddenly.
I always thought it was the Union. Yes, absolutely. I will sure do, officer.
His eyes narrow slightly. He's wondering where this is going.
In my home. Yes. When I was going to... How did you know? Mr. Clare unlocked my apartment? So you work for Everard Clare? Officer, please tell him we're good. No, tell him I'll make it up to him. What have I done? He'll send the muscle after me.
As he lowers his tone, he hunches his back.
Whatever it is, tell him I'm silent as the grave. I was probably talking too loud in the whirling the other night about some theories. I won't do it again. If there's anything I can do to assist you, or the Union, just ask, okay? I'll try to help if I can.
This scared him proper. He's positively melting from fear. Has to prop himself up with a lot of anger to keep it together.
The weather vane has turned. He cannot be unturned.
He clearly liked his squirming. trap in the reeds at your feet looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Say the reeds sway in the coastal breeze. They seem to be waiting for something. The wind picks up here. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go. Surely.
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood. The padlock passes through a staple that's been hastily attached to the wood. Closer inspection reveals that one of the screws is not a screw at all, but a nail. Should you want to get through, it might be easier to just pry the whole thing off.
Maybe we should circle the building first and look for another way. The building has seen enough mistreatment. Yes, the pulsing base. A sure sign of junior delinquency, somewhere east of here.
This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. It'll be easier to break the staple than you see a yellow circle with 2 X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. There is something blindingly modern about this symbol. Its modernness puts to shame everything you've seen before. He takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker. Then he looks up, pauses, and replies.
No. Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency. I haven't seen that sticker before, and I'm not a youth. That level of conceptual thinking is not part of my skill set.
The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. 2 large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. The surface is smoothed from the wind, but nothing happens, only the sound of the...
I don't think that's going to work. Do you think our suspect is hiding inside?
The lieutenant, high above, the wind wraps the church in its rush, cold and wet from the ocean bay.
There is a hole in my heart.
The lieutenant looks at the padlock. He didn't hear you asking. You were quiet enough. There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb. Voila! Looks very modern. You're part of the future brigade now, and so is your formerly humdrum ledger. Neon, baby. now know why you have law jaw, why you say the law in a weird manner, and why your jaw does that thing. You had polio as a child. You hadn't gotten vaccinated. It must have been right after the revolution. Not a lot of vaccine going around then. So you got infantile paralysis due to polio, and this jaw thing is a complication from that. Admittedly, it's not very funny, but you overcame it. This little infant survived and became a sharp-shooting super cop. So, fuck you, polio. Heavy wooden doors, more than twice. Heavy wooden doors, more than twice. You jam the pry bar between the lock and the staple and apply force. Your biceps bulge from the strain. The metal creaks and squeals. The pathetic old wood, rusty screws, and one nail stand no chance against the forces of leverage. Suddenly, the pry bar snaps. Metal shavings fly everywhere. The upper half, between the lock and the staple, falls to the ground with a thunk. The broken edge of the snapped pry bar is smooth.
Tools break, officer. Try to control yourself. I don't know. You don't? Or maybe we'll find a new one. I don't carry more than one pry bar with me. I thought this was a lousy way to enter a place of worship that's already in disrepair. I guess the church agreed.
This was surely just a freak accident. You see that seagull up there? Remind you of anybody? What? Kim? No, it's you. You think about the seagull's story. It's one of endurance and adaptation. The seaside was paradise once. They were birds of that paradise. Then their paradise became shit city. And what did they do? They became urban survivors, eating burgers out of trash cans, killing and eating pigeons. No time for that sentimental bullshit. They're hustlers, getting shit done. They're one pair of track pants away from gangsters, just like you. You have. The body remembers. Own it. Steal hot dogs, shit in the sand, whatever it takes to keep going. A shaggy-looking girl in her late teens or early 20s kneels on the ice with an electronic contraption in her hand. Hearing you approach, she looks up.
Oh, hello there.
Everyone knows drugs make you invulnerable to cold. You bet this one likes to party.
Huh?
Maybe she didn't hear you. A little louder.
So should you.
You don't have to do anything.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah, well... Look, man, fuck the hat.
Your pulse rises.
I'm sorry I said fuck the hat. I was concentrating on something else. My whole family swears and it rubbed off on me. No,
Just no?
it's pretty desolate here. I only hear the dogs bark at night and see the shadows move down the coast.
Long shadows, short shadows, quiet shadows of local children, loud shadows, drunks, and also a shadow made of sticks. You breathe on your hands for warmth. Teenagers skulking around, gang members looking for a hole in the Union's defenses, maybe Ruby too, but she wouldn't be able to tell from here.
A cell.
Her hair is dyed blonde, with dark roots showing. There's a coarseness to her features, some masculinity below that timidness.
Okay, it's Burger.
A very common name.
This is a portable recording device. It's for field recording. Low quality, but still. Actually, just one wire. I picked on it till the braiding came loose. The wire leads to a contact microphone. A contact mic records sounds from inside things, like this ice.
Nice. You could maybe bug someone with it. Wiretapping.
Same place I got the recorder from, the Elysium. Oh man, you haven't been to the Elysium? It's the coolest place in this whole drug-addled shithole. It's a music club and a synthesizer workshop on Boogie Street in Jamrock. Musicians live there, like real musicians. I once saw Arno van Eyck. Oh yeah, guess you wouldn't know Van Eyck, or really be a Elysium going kind of person. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means either. That's cool. Sucks, man. Was there something else? About the contact mic, perhaps? The mic? I don't exactly know. Okay. Recording, I guess. I think I'm recording cracks in the ice, but there's no way to tell. Not without headphones. I think I just recorded your footsteps too. Not sure how that will sound.
What happened to the old headphones?
My boyfriend sold them. I don't know, man. Things. Just stuff you need for life.
Everything checks out, sire.
The musicians in the Elysium used them for making music. They looped the stuff, cutting the tapes together. They make music out of cracks in the ice and keys jangling. Crazy sounds like that. It's hard to explain. Anyway, I thought I'd make some too. It's supposed to be, like, a music place anyway.
The girl is cold all of a sudden. Very
I don't really know what I'm doing. They use synthesizers too. I don't have a synthesizer.
Take this, you're cold.
No, man, fuck that, I'm cool. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry about the fuck.
It's okay.
Thanks. That? The boys think it could be a place, like the Elysium or something. Stupid. It's really not gonna be a Elysium, that's for sure.
And who are these boys?
Yeah, Andre and the guys, they're inside, in the tent.
And why is that?
They got too much stuff crammed in there. No room. Music stuff mostly. Like this tape recorder, but bigger. That stuff is more expensive than I am. More expensive. Go ahead. It's supposed to become, except that.
The floorboards are twisting, and the shooting beams are slowly cracking, like bones. Far east of the Golden Delta, there will never be a club for anodic music. Not in a million years.
No, not really.
She's trying to get out of a direct lie with semantic tricks. She personally didn't.
Yeah, you know, that's what I meant. Noid did. Noid put the padlock on the door. Yeah, I guess you... to keep more weirdos from getting in.
Should you? Weirdos. Sounds bad somehow.
I know. It's not my idea. Andre and the boys found the place. Hey, don't get me wrong, but you're cops, right? Come on, man, don't mess around. Maybe you could talk to Andre and the guys, because there are some strange things going on in that church. If you're police, you should look into it, right? They're inside that thing there. Would be cool if you did. You know, anodic, synthesizers. Go ahead.
The device is cold to the touch. An angular Omicron logo adorns the yellow plastic cover. Underneath you see a reel of tape rolling. You put the device back on the ice.
Okay, bye.
A pane of Eternite, barely holding it. The pane falls into the icy snow with a soft thunk. The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men, all in forward-looking apparel, reminiscent of the sticker on the padlock, are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard. One of them looks at you.
Come on! Get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out. Sorry, we barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this. I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
And Egghead. Egg! Together with a Settle Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers. We have many in the pipeline, officer. You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues. Oh, so you've met her? Good, good. Yeah, it's a matter of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of Narcomania on the coast. I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads! Burnouts!
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that, in Revachol.
Strike that! The word!
And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts holed up in there were the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burnouts really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
The spooky kind. I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse. People just wanna spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs.
Thank you, Egg. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property.
All right, man.
Yes. What? Yeah. Good to have. Bitch to... oh. It's the one they sell at the fuel station. The what now? Oh, the old Ultra. I have a major sinus infection. Stuffy nose. We all do. Yes, that's all Nosefed's doing.
Nosefed is the shit.
Sure. Here you go, officer. The Noser. Blast away. It does.
Told you we have a smell problem.
He sniffs the air, then shrugs. A shrug is good enough for us. He nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved. Okay, so the gist of it is, they want to turn the church into a club, but a suspicious element has overtaken the building. It's very important to understand what the gist of things is. All plus, and it has...
Oh! You should have the key. We had to padlock the door to the...
All right.
You sense the trajectory of the little piece of metal and plastic. The object makes a small ringing sound as it approaches. Ka-ching! The key hits your palm. The speed freaks nod to you approvingly.
As always, we'll be right here.
Heavy wooden doors. The lock feels like
Let's go.
a great whoosh of air in the heart of... machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on...
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on. We should probably let it be. It's becoming clear that there's no trace of the suspect anywhere inside the church.
You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. The lieutenant says nothing. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, "This is the machine's filament memory." The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds...
Good evening. Votre accident on Saint-Brun. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer.
Received. Votre accident. Sleep.
The machine's keyboard is still... Nothing happened. In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the massive wooden structure behind you. It covers you from the wind outside. The ocean feels distant, its ebb and flow blocked off by the centuries-old pinewood sarcophagus around you. Cold air seeps in through the crack in the glass, cooling the sweat on your forehead, makes you shudder. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips, and a glint in her green-blue eye. Of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the DeLorean Church of... It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. We should be
respectful. Is the lieutenant a follower of the...
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin.
The woman looks by in silence.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional.
Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. The innocence of humanism. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men. As did we all. In a city called Advespa, she was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza. Oh yes, midwinter snow. One of the men in something, Dolores, this inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well. Terrifying. Although she was the most socially, the mesques suggesting that she adored chess. Little is known, this subtle...
Lieutenant Freighter, what are you thinking of, if I may ask? She's been dead for 300 years. None of this is, in fact. This church.
The shards glimmer in the dark. The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. And then it's gone. Almost all of it. But for the faintest of hums, you can hardly hear your own breathing. Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl, but the softest of whimpers. It's unnerving. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more. The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything? I wonder why the church was built with such strange acoustics.
The lieutenant doesn't reply, but the orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead. Just darkness without end. It makes your head spin. Filled with vague shapes of there's nothing.
Officer, what are you looking at?
You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it.